So apparently this episode of X-Men Season 2, Episode 5, it has the folks upset. People are pissed off. People are aggravated. People are saying like this is a bad portrayal of Wolverine. They feel so sorry for Morph. And I'm just sitting here looking like this episode was needed. This episode was absolutely needed. You know why? Because it bursts the bubble of what people believe Wolverine to be. A lot of people think that Wolverine is like the Superman of the X-Men. You guys think that Wolverine is this grand stand-up character with morals and values. You guys think that he's just this big grandfather figure. Not the case. Not the case at all. Wolverine is selfish. Wolverine is ruthless. Wolverine is animalistic. And this episode really showcases Wolverine's character. His real character. Not the portrayal that you see Hugh Jackman play in the Bryan Singer movies. Not the portrayal that you see in like X-Men Evolution. No. This is a comic accurate version of Wolverine. When Wolverine wants something done, he is going to go through hell and high water to get it done. And he does not give a fuck who he has to screw over, who he has to hurt in order to complete his mission. So yeah, I'm so glad that this episode exists and it showcases to the mass audience of people who may not be comic readers of the X-Men. It showcases the real portrayal of Wolverine. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode. And sidebar, Morph.
It makes me sad, Logan.
Boo-hoo!
Theme song. Now, before we dive into the episode, we have to highlight the post-credit scene from episode 4. Wolverine linked up with both Captain America and Black Widow. Now, sidebar, this is a 90s portrayal of Black Widow and Captain America. Black Widow looks a mess. We do not ever need to bring back the short haircut for Black Widow ever again. And look at her costume. Ew. What type of costume is that? Yes, I am one of those people that is always advocating for a comic accurate costume within any adaptation. But for Black Widow, no. We just gonna go with her MCU design or her modern design because this costume is absolutely terrible. So the context of this scene, Wolverine linked up with Captain America and Black Widow because they were delivering information to him. They give him a file, and on the file, it marks Weapon X. Now, this is so important. This is so important. Captain America says,
"But as a friend, you can't go after these guys alone."
And Wolverine denies it.
"Don't worry your pretty feathers, Cap. I got myself a crew."
This moment is extremely important and it provides a lot of context into episode 5. Wolverine denies Captain America's services. Wolverine does not tell Captain America and Black Widow what he plans on doing. He's deciding to utilize the information to execute his agenda, but he purposely does not tell Black Widow and Captain America what he's planning, and he purposely denies any help that Captain America offers in order to get involved. This scene is important. I had to highlight it because I'm going to bring this point up later on in the review. Let's move on. So the episode opens up and we see Wolverine driving a helicopter with a crew full of people. And the people that are on this helicopter is Team X. We have Kane, we have Maverick, we have Sabretooth, we have Lady Deathstrike, and we have Morph. Morph is sitting on the passenger side. Now, one of the things that I wanted to discuss, a lot of people were confused of how Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth, who are like the #1 ops for Wolverine, how was Wolverine able to convince them to go on this mission? Because anytime Sabretooth sees Wolverine, it's on sight. Anytime that Lady Deathstrike sees Wolverine, it's on sight. So people are really confused as to why they are being so civil and willing to work with Wolverine in order to take down Weapon S, which they were led to believe was the actual mission. And all I have to say is with Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike, they are unpredictable. She wants to face Wolverine on her own terms. If she's going to fight Wolverine, it has to be a clear-cut reason to fight Wolverine. So her being on the plane with Wolverine driving and the rest of Team X, it makes sense because it caters to her unpredictability. Same thing with Sabretooth. As you guys know, Wolverine and Sabretooth, they be going at it. Okay, that is literally like my number one favorite heroes versus villains rivalry. But it's the same thing that applies to Sabretooth because I bet you guys don't know this, but Sabretooth served on the X-Men multiple times. You may know Sabretooth to be animalistic, to be ruthless, to be a straight up murderous bastard. All of those elements are correct, but also the unpredictability of Sabretooth, that is an element to his character as well. So Sabretooth also being on the plane with Wolverine and the rest of Team X, it makes sense. It caters to his unpredictability. So that is why we see Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike working with Wolverine. And I just need to say, I love that Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike was on this mission. And I love that they were in this episode. Why? Because these two were the very first to call out Wolverine on his bullshit. And they were consistent with it throughout the episode, even when other motherfuckers, aka Morph, was not trying to listen. But I'm jumping ahead. Let's keep it going with this own personal scene. So then we see Morph. He is having a conversation with Wolverine because, as I say, he is on the passenger side when Wolverine is on the driver's side. And he's like, yeah, what are we doing? Because you got like all your number one enemies on the plane with you attending this mission. What are we doing? And Wolverine's like,
Can't wait to add to the memories.
Don't recall twisting your arm.
That right there, Wolverine directly tells Morph, I did not twist your arm to join me on this mission. That is extremely important. Extremely important. And Morph tried to dress it up as,
You tried a few puppy dog looks and
What the hell's a puppy dog look?
an innocent gaze.
Dripping with subtextual guilt.
Morph is on this mission because he is attracted to Wolverine.
So you're a queer, aren't you?
Fag! Queer! Faggot!
What are you, a fag?
That is why he is on this mission. He's trying to put it out there that he is just a loyal X-Men team member and doesn't want Wolverine to go on a dangerous mission without having backup while he's on the plane with half of his enemies. But Morph is on this mission solely because he wants to spend time with Wolverine. That is extremely important because, as I just said, Wolverine states, I did not twist your arm for you to join me on this mission. So Morph voluntarily wanted to join Wolverine in whatever mission this entails. And unfortunately, this cost Morph at the end of the episode, but I just had to lay that point out. Wolverine did not ask Morph to join him on this mission. Morph volunteered. And another thing that I want to highlight with this scene, Sabretooth, he walks up to Morph and was like,
What's your deal, putty boy? You got beef with Weapon X? Or are you just a hairy runch little ex-pet?
People thought that Sabretooth was just starting some and talking shit. No, that is extremely important. Sabretooth asking Morph, why are you on this mission? Remember that. So then the helicopter that they are on, it gets attacked. The helicopter dives straight into the floor. It crash lands. The scene goes dark. And then the next scene, we see helicopter wreckage. We see Morph standing up in shock, terrified, trying to figure out what's going on. And he looks over and he sees that Kane is murdered. Kane did not survive the helicopter crash. A very ruthless death. So Morph is trying to find everybody, Maverick appears first, then Lady Deathstrike, and then next thing you know, it's a whole bunch of animals with green slime dripping from their mouths and their eyes are green. They decide to attack Team X. So they all try to jump this polar bear because the polar bear is whooping everybody's ass. So here comes Sabretooth. Sabretooth is low-key the GOAT in this episode. Sabretooth comes in, he just snaps the neck of the polar bear. And one thing I want to say about this episode, I love how gruesome this episode is. I love how violent this episode is because this is the type of behavior we want to see when we have three killers, Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, and Wolverine. You got to put them in a scenario where they can just be unapologetically murderous. So I love the gruesome violence in this episode. So in this moment, Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth, they both recognize that Wolverine does not have his adamantium skeleton.
What happened to your pretty metal claws?
Impossible. The adamantium process cannot be reversed.
This moment is extremely important because suspicion is raised.
Ain't nobody's business but mine.
What? What do you mean it's not anybody's business? You just brought all of Team X to pursue this Weapon X facility, and their helicopter just crash landed in the middle of nowhere in the snow. And you're saying that it's nobody's business why you don't have your claws? That moment right there was a clear-cut indicator that Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth, they are recognizing that Wolverine is playing games.
Stranded out here in the Arctic with a bunch of lying mercs and killers. You damn well bet all your business is my business.
And Morph is trying to like diffuse the situation like, hey guys, everybody just chill out. It's not that big of a deal. We're just here for a mission and we're here to take down Weapon X. And Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike, they're not buying it. They're not buying it at all. Also, I want you guys to notice that nobody reacted to Kane's death. Nobody. Especially Wolverine. Wolverine is supposed to be the quote-unquote hero, the grand X-Man, the Superman of the X-Men, according to y'all. But he had no reaction to Kane's death. That's a very, very important fact. But let's move on. So as they enter this facility, it's so dark, it's abandoned, it's a whole bunch of wreckage everywhere. Lady Deathstrike walks over to Morph and was like,
Poor Tomo. So loyal.
that was example number one of Lady Deathstrike hinting at Morph that there's no reason why you should be this loyal to Wolverine. That was example number one. Now, as they're walking through this facility, they see a whole bunch of dead bodies. People have been sliced. People have been dismembered. All you see is blood. All you see is wreckage. Like I said, it's a lot of gruesome elements in this episode, and I love it. I'm not even a person that likes horror films, but I do like action movies, and I do like graphic action movies. And for this situation, like I said, you got Sabretooth, you got Lady Deathstrike, and you got Wolverine. Three of the most deadliest killers in the Marvel Universe. You have to put these three mercenaries in a scenario where they will be ready to do any and everything and to kill anyone in their path. So the gruesome elements that we see in this episode, I love it. So then we see Dr. Cornelius. Dr. Cornelius is just standing there in the middle of the dark, and he's like, oh, the stray dogs have come. Dr. Cornelius is one of the lead scientists of Weapon X. And as you can see in this moment, Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike, they are ready to take his head off.
Thief! You perverted my father's work!
Nuh-uh. Four Eyes is mine.
Morph intervenes. He tries to stop them. And in that moment, we see that Cornelius transforms. And then we are exposed to the real villains of this episode, the Brood. Now, the Brood, they are a very interesting group of villains for the X-Men because they are an animalistic species and they like to infect people to grow their colony. That is what we see in this episode. We see that the Weapon X facility, they were taken over by the Brood. And Wolverine, he's putting it out there to the team that it is their mission to shut this facility down and kill every single Brood in this building so they will not affect the rest of the planet. That is what he is putting out there to the team. But that was not Wolverine's goal going into this mission.
Should we maybe pause and figure out how we're getting back home?
Tackle one problem at a time. The job's getting done first.
Now, this is another moment of why I love Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike in this episode, because they are calling Wolverine out on his bull. Maverick is pulling up his schematics. He's trying to find a way to exit this facility, and he's like, hey, this area has a plane. That's our vehicle out of here.
Good news is, this bunker's laced with adamantium. Should keep them off while we find another exit.
And Wolverine's like, nope, we need to go deeper.
We gotta go deeper.
Are you dumb or crazy?
And so Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike, they're like, hold up, what the is going on? And they call into question what his plans are.
You weren't there after the crash.
He could be under their thrall.
So they are really approaching Wolverine and getting ready to fight him. And Morph is trying to intervene, trying to be loyal to Wolverine, trying to cool down everybody's heads, and was like, listen, we have a bigger purpose here.
There's a lot of dead lab coats around. Is it too big a stretch to imagine Cornelius injecting himself with alien DNA?
But Morph, Wolverine is literally playing, you guys. You should be listening to what Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike are saying. They're not trying to start any shit. Morph, you need to recognize that Wolverine led you guys here against a deadly species known as the Brood. And there is no way for you guys to fly out of here because your transportation was destroyed. So you guys are stranded. And since Dr. Cornelius is pretty much dead because he was taken over by the Brood, Wolverine is not trying to find a way out because y'all were there to kill Dr. Cornelius and shut down whatever he's doing. But he doesn't want to find a way out. He wants to go deeper. And that is why Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth are on his ass. So then everybody agrees that we should just split up to cover more ground. But Lady Deathstrike's like, nah.
No two X-Men go anywhere alone. Tomo here comes with me.
And again, this is just both Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth recognizing that Wolverine brought them there under false pretenses. Wolverine is leading them on. Wolverine put them in a dangerous situation. And Wolverine is literally stating that he's trying to go deeper when they should be finding a way up out of here because their main mission, Dr. Cornelius, he's already dead because of the Brood. But Wolverine is trying to dig deeper for something else. So they already know that Wolverine is on some bullshit. And they're like, yeah, Morph, you're going to be with us because this is not going to be like the X-Men go elsewhere and then everybody else. Like, nah. So shout out to Lady Deathstrike because she sniffs out the bullshit that Wolverine is demonstrating and she's not going for it. So then Lady Deathstrike and Morph, they have a conversation. Morph asks her, why does she keep calling him Tomo?
What's up with this Tomo stuff?
Is a magical shape-shifting fox, a loyal sidekick to a heroic samurai. Unfortunately, it did not work out well for Tomo.
Lady Deathstrike is putting out a warning to Morph to let him know that, listen, whatever your reasons is to be so loyal to Wolverine, he is playing you. You don't recognize it because she doesn't know this, but we know this. You don't recognize it more because you're so in love and so attracted to Wolverine, but he is literally playing you. Wolverine led everybody there to this weaponized facility for different reasons, and you need to recognize it. You think that we're just calling Wolverine out because we're bad guys, but it's like, nah, we know Wolverine. Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth, they have a long history with Wolverine. They know who this man is. Morph, you don't know Wolverine from back in the day. You know Wolverine from being on the X-Men. So you should be listening to what Deathstrike and Sabretooth are saying, but you're not doing that. So then Morph, Sabretooth, and Lady Deathstrike, they come across a whole bunch of computer modules and they see a whole bunch of tapes. They pop in a tape. I'm assuming they picked up the Wolverine disc. I don't know. But they pop in the tape and they're seeing what Weaponettes have been working on. And they realize that Dr. Cornelius and the rest of Weaponettes, they were doing an experimental project with the Brood. And they see that they were trying to utilize the Brood's biochemistry and take their DNA and insert it into mutants to create more super soldiers. And as you can see in this clip, we see Maggot. They use Maggot as one of the failed experiments on Weaponettes, and they killed him because they turned him into the Brood. I can't believe they wasted a character like Maggot, but then at the same time, Maggot's powers, we're not going to dive into it. So in X-Men 97, Maggot just really does need to just stay dead. Let's move on. So Morph, Sabretooth, and Lady Deathstrike, they get attacked by more Brood. The Brood is actually trying to infect Morph, but it's not working. After Lady Deathstrike cuts it up, she's like,
Are you infected?
No. Cornelius said the Brood have one goal: survive.
They only breed with the best.
And if there's one guy who's the best at what they do...
Then we get a communication from Maverick. Maverick is screaming out. He's like, we've been attacked. I don't know where Wolverine is. Please rendezvous to my location. As Sabretooth, Deathstrike, and Morph are on the way to Maverick's location, they run across Omega Red. It's like the episode just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I just want to say, I love Omega Red. One thing that I love about the series, they are expanding the X-Men's role gallery. In this single episode, we have Lady Deathstrike, we have Sabretooth, and we have Omega Red. I love it. Bring in more X-Men villains. And one thing about Omega Red, that motherfucker is ruthless. I love Omega Red. I love when villains are just evil for the sake of being evil. I absolutely love it. So then they see Maverick. He is panicking. His mask is fucked up. He is breathing heavily. And it's like, Maverick, what's going on? And then the room gets dark. And we realize that Wolverine has been affected. The Brood was seeking a person like Wolverine. That's why we've seen so many failed experiments like we saw on the tape with Maggot. It did not work with him and he ended up dying. That is why we see so many dead bodies. The Brood is looking for the right person in order to infect that person and take over. That is why when the Brood was in the process of affecting Morph, it did not work. Remember, Lady Deathstrike asked, were you affected? And he's like, no, I don't know why. The Brood was seeking somebody like Wolverine, a violent animal who has a healing factor. So we see that Wolverine straight up murder Maverick. And the fight is on. We see that Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth, they are fighting Wolverine, a mind-controlled, Brood-infected version of Wolverine. I just want to say in this moment, they kind of like weakened Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike because they fought Wolverine all their lives. And yes, the Brood did kind of infect Wolverine and probably increased his speed and his strength, but I don't care. Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth, this was your opportunity to cut loose, literally, and beat this motherfucker's ass. I didn't want them to win the fight, but I wanted them to put up more of a fight. But it's cool because they had to utilize this moment to show how uncontrollable Wolverine is while being affected by the Brood. So as they're fighting and more Brood is rallying to Wolverine's location to take everybody down, somebody damages the control to Omega Red's cage. He opens his eyes, he breaks out, and it is on and popping. Wolverine. And so we have a Brood-infected Wolverine, we have a pissed off Omega Red, and then we have a whole bunch of Brood aliens. And they're like, oh shit, what did we get ourselves into? So as Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike, they make it out, they're trying to catch their breath, and they're just like, you know what? Wolverine, let's just go ahead and just leave.
We must reach the transport bay before we are too.
Amen. I'm out of here.
And Morph stops them from leaving.
Hold up. We're not going anywhere until we save Wolverine.
He's such a bitch.
Listen to me!
Shut your bitch ass up!
So in this moment, Morph recognized that Wolverine lied to him, but
Fine! Maybe you're right! He lied to us!
what people need to understand is deeper than that. Sabretooth says the quiet part out loud.
Look where we found him, you dope! He was in the adamantium chamber, the opposite direction of the vehicle bay. He came here to get his claws back.
This mission was about Wolverine getting his adamantium claws back, and he was going to use Team X as a sacrifice in order to make this situation happen. This is the main reason why he did not want Captain America to come with him. This is the main reason why he did not want Morph to come with him. He viewed Team X as expendable. He viewed Kane, Maverick, Lady Deathstrike, and Sabretooth as a sacrificial lamb. He did not care what happened to them. He was going to sacrifice them in order to get his claws back. That is why you did not see any type of reaction from Wolverine when Kane died after the plane crash. Now, granted, he was infected by the Brood, so we were not able to see a reaction from him when he murdered Maverick, but I said all this to say, Wolverine brought these people here to sacrifice them so he can get his claws back. Morph in that moment recognized that what Sabretooth and what Lady Deathstrike were saying to him throughout this entire mission, it was true.
I was right. Damn it, I was right. I knew it.
I knew it! I knew it!
Your friend is not really a friend. He's not really acting like a hero. He is being selfish. He brought us here so he can get his adamantium claws back. And now the situation is like 30 times worse because we have a Brood-infected Wolverine. We have a colony of Brood. And then on top of that, we have Omega Red. So in this moment, Morph had to recognize like, yo, I am really stupid for being so loyal, so extremely loyal to Wolverine just to get played. Because like I said, Wolverine did not ask Morph to come on this mission. He did not want any friends on this mission. He brought Team X there to sacrifice them. He did not care about the rest of Team X. He wanted to get his claws back. Then they come up with the plan to actually give Wolverine his adamantium claws back because one, that's what he wants. And two, they realize, yes, the Brood cannot survive the adamantium process. Wolverine can because he has the healing factor. So if we give Wolverine his adamantium claws back, it will revert him back to normal and then we can find a way to get up out of here. So Morph comes up with the idea in order to lure Wolverine into the adamantium chambers, he turns into Cyclops and he antagonized Wolverine as Cyclops. That's going to bring Wolverine out and that will cause Sabretooth, Lady Deathstrike, and Morph to put Wolverine into the adamantium chambers, start the bonding process so he can get his claws back and get rid of the bruised eggs within his body. Now this was a good plan, but unfortunately Sabretooth had to ruin it because he decides to attack Wolverine. And honestly, I don't blame Sabretooth because it's like, bitch, you brought me out here on some death mission just to get your claws back because you are a selfish piece of yeah, let Sabretooth get his licks in. But the plan is going sideways because we see a Brood colony coming at Lady Deathstrike. So then Sabretooth, he accidentally stabs a pipe and it causes an explosion. But it's okay because Sabretooth, my boy, can heal. And now Wolverine is after Morph, not Sabretooth anymore. So Morph is trying to avoid Wolverine. He's trying to talk him down. He's trying to calm him down. Wolverine stabs Morph straight in the chest. And then Morph decides to turn into Jean Grey. With Morph turning into Jean, that helps Wolverine kind of snap out of it. But in this moment, Morph is hurt physically because he just got stabbed. But also he realizes that, damn, Wolverine does not care for me. He cares more about Jean because it wasn't my voice that calmed him down. It was Jean's voice when I turned into him. So yeah, Morph is having a moment But nigga, we ain't got time for moments. So shout out to Lady Deathstrike because she comes down and she just throws them up straight in the chamber. So then they cut on the machine so the adamantium bonding process can start again. But in walks Omega Red. It just got real. I wanted Lady Deathstrike to go more rounds with Omega Red. I just wanted to see more of a fight. And I wanted to see Sabretooth and Omega Red fight, but Sabretooth was so weakened from the explosion. That's why he went upstairs to cut the controls on in order to get Wolverine back his claws. But yeah, I just wanted more moments of Omega Red fighting Lady Deathstrike. But it's okay because Wolverine gets his claws back.
I'm back, baby.
And we get a fight scene between Wolverine and Omega Red, and I love it. So the facility is exploding. Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike, they actually find some transport, and they're like, we're out of here. Morph is like, Wolverine, stop fighting Omega Red, let's go. Now, let's just be clear here. Omega Red, he can survive that explosion. Like, that explosion did not kill him. Yes, he may be a little bit suffocated under that piece of falling debris, but he can get out of that. But as far as that whole entire explosion, he'll be all right. The Brood, however, they're dead. They're absolutely dead. But also, it's important to note that the whole entire building exploded along with the dead scientists that the Brood killed previously. So it's not like any governmental agency can launch an investigation of what's going on because the humans that were killed by the Brood, their bodies are now up in flames. So with everything being up in flames because of the explosion, I guess this can prevent anybody else from trying something like this again because there's no evidence, there's no footage, all the research is gone. So I guess this was a W. So then the final scene of the episode, we see the rest of Team X. It's just Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, Morph, and Wolverine. Wolverine doesn't say a thank you. He doesn't say, I appreciate you guys for going on this mission and helping me get my claws back. The plane is just silent. We see that Sabretooth is still trying to heal and recover from that whole entire explosion. We see that Lady Deathstrike, she's just driving the plane in silence. And we see that Morph, he is still holding on to his wound of when Wolverine pierced him with his claws. This moment is important because we also see a flashback scene of Maverick being dead. As I said earlier, Wolverine viewed Team X as expendable. He did not care whether they lived or died. Even though Wolverine was under the Brood's control when he murdered Maverick, now that he's back in human form, there's no sense of remorse. There's no sense of guilt. There's no sense of mourning. Kane and Maverick died in this mission, and Wolverine does not care. He just pops his claws back and was like, yeah, I got him. I got him back. But like I said, he doesn't even acknowledge Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, and Morph. He viewed everybody as expendable. He did not want any people that he was friends with to go on this mission because this was going to be a death mission. That's why he denied Captain America's offer to join him on this mission. That's why he stated earlier in the episode to Morph, I did not twist your arm for you to come on this mission because that was not part of Wolverine's plans. Wolverine's plans was to get his claws back by any means necessary. And unfortunately, Morph had to learn that the hard way. And to be honest, I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for you whatsoever.
And you're only what? An animal with claws? Doesn't that make you sad? It makes me sad, Logan.
There's like this big online conversation of people feeling so sorry for Morph. I don't feel sorry for you. Morph, you need to understand as a grown-ass human being, just because you are attracted to somebody, that does not mean it is that person's obligation to be attracted to you. Wolverine is not attracted to you, but you decided to go on this mission to chase after Wolverine because you're so attracted to him, and Wolverine ended up stabbing you in the back and in the front. Literally.
It's funny how the tables turn, turn.
You should have listened to Sabretooth. You should have listened to Lady Deathstrike. They know Wolverine longer than you. Morph had hearts in his eyes. He only wanted to be around Wolverine because he wanted to spend time with Wolverine because he's in love with Wolverine. Wolverine is not in love with you, sir. You had to recognize in this moment that Wolverine was willing to sacrifice you along with the rest of Team X just so he can get his claws back. And even when Morph is trying to like plead his case to him, Wolverine doesn't care. He doesn't care. Your words mean absolutely nothing to him. So yeah, I don't feel bad for Morph. I don't feel bad whatsoever. You should know better. To be on the X-Men, especially on a mission, you need to lead with common sense. You have to use your brain and not your damn hormones. So yeah, I don't feel bad for Morph at all. He ain't no teenager. He's not a child. He is a grown-ass adult. And this is the heartbreak that you needed. This is the reality that you needed with your so-called friend being Wolverine. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad whatsoever. Wolverine, you are full of shit. You could have at least said, I thank you guys for agreeing to go on this mission, even though I misled you guys. You didn't say a word. Wolverine. I don't want people thinking like, oh my God, this was a character assassination with Wolverine. No, it's not. This is Wolverine. I can say this as a Wolverine hater. This is the type of shit that he does all the time in the comics. So again, if you believe that Wolverine is like this big, grandstanding character, he's like the Superman of the X-Men, you got Hugh Jackman's version of Wolverine in your head and you're thinking that Wolverine is always supposed to be righteous. No. Nope. Wolverine is full of Wolverine is an asshole. Wolverine is selfish and Wolverine can go to hell. The ghosts of this episode is Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike. Shout out to them. The villains. Because they were standing 10 toes down the entire episode. They were calling Wolverine out on his bull. But then on top of that, they tried to warn Morph repeatedly. Do not trust Wolverine. He is playing you. He's playing all of us. But Morph didn't want to listen. But shout out to Lady Deathstrike and shout out to Sabretooth. They were the goats of this episode. And also shout out to Omega Red. I love Omega Red in his villain era. I want to see more of Omega Red in X-Men 97. This was a good episode. Everybody think that this was a filler episode? Yes, it was. This is a filler episode. But I don't care. I enjoyed it. I absolutely enjoyed it. I love the bubble of Wolverine's good guy perception being bursted on you guys. I love this episode so very much, mainly because of Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike. R.I.P. to Kane, R.I.P. to Maverick, Wolverine, and Morph grow the up. That's it for this review. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Episode 6. Of season 2 of X-Men 97. Peace.